This is the Lamborghini Huracan Tecnica, and it's a bit like Legend. Not that Legend, not that Legend, not that Legend either. Yeah, that Legend, because it's a greatest hits album of the Lamborghini Huracan. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why. And I'm also going to launch it to see how quick it is from 0 to 60 miles an hour and over the standing quarter mile, because I'm Matt Watson and that's what I do. Oh yes, you are most certainly watching Car Wow. Buy, sell, Car Wow. Let's start off this video with what makes the Tecnica tick. Quite literally ticking actually, because I've been driving it quite hard. Anyway, it's the 5.2 litre naturally aspirated V10 that is used in the range topping STO. So it's got 640 horsepower as opposed to 610 horsepower in the normal Huracan Evo. Produces 565 newton meters of torque, and it drives the rear wheels only via a 7-speed dual clutch automatic gearbox with launch control. So we should launch it, shouldn't we? I am going to launch it, but not just yet. The Tecnica gets the same brakes as the normal Huracan Evo, so you've got 380mm discs up front gripped by 6-piston calipers and 356mm discs at the rear gripped by 4-piston calipers, and they are of course carbon ceramics as standard. But how do they perform? I'm going to measure it braking from 100 miles an hour but also from 60 miles an hour. Here we go, I'm going to get over 100 miles an hour, but it's going to register from 100. What figures we're going to get? Oh, that's really good. 100 to 0, 84 meters. That is really, really good. 60 to 0, 30 meters. That's actually better than a Ferrari 296 GTB. If you want to see what that car did, click on the pop-out banner up there for the link in the description below. Stops so good, this thing. Stops so good. In terms of design, the Tecnica is a halfway house between the madness of the normal Huracan Evo and the absolutely craziness of the STO version. So it gets a redesigned front bumper there, which is all pointy and stuff, and you have these sort of white elements which remind me of the daytime running lights on the Sian. Also, it's got a carbon fibre bonnet, which I'll prove to you later. Moving down the side, you get some unique alloy wheel designs, and as we go further back, you'll see, look, it's got a sort of double bubble roof going on. At the rear, you have a fixed spoiler, not as big as the STOs, but it obviously makes the car look even more racy than the normal Huracan Evo. And then there's this rear deck, so rather than the big glass screen of the normal Evo, you have this carbon fibre tray, and you still get a viewing window where you can look in and see that lovely V10. At the very rear, you have a redesigned rear diffuser, plus hexagonal exhaust pipes. It's looking good. That brings us on to the price. So this car starts from £212,000, which is about £15,000 more than the normal Huracan Evo, but it's still £48,000 less than the STO. Here on the inside, you'll probably be thinking that changes over the normal Evo include this lovely two-tone effect, but no, that's optional. And maybe carbon fibre air vents. No, they're optional as well. Or how about the carbon fibre door inlays? No, they're optional. They're actually £4,000. Maybe it's the carbon fibre bucket seats. No, once again, these are optional as well. They're £5,000. Oh, maybe it's the Alcantara steering wheel. It's got to be that. No, once again, that's optional as well. So what is new in the Tecnica? Well, it does have a slightly revised instrument display with less colours apparently to make it more readable. Another change are the seats, which you get as standard, which I can't show you because these are the optional ones, but apparently they're height adjustable. Ooh. Then there's the infotainment system. It's got a new infotainment system. It's pretty Other than that, it's the same as a Huracan Evo. So yeah, you've got your weird gear selector thing, which I don't particularly like. You have the fighter jet missile launch starter button cover, which I do like. You have big fixed pedals for the dual clutch automatic gearbox. You have your various driving modes here on the steering wheel, which are nice and easy to use. You have your indicators on the steering wheel as well. You have plenty of adjustment actually in the steering wheel itself. In terms of storage, yeah, well, not that much. There's this area here. There's a shelf behind me. There is a glove box which is full with a manual. And there's a little space here. That's the kind of place where you leave things and forget about them and you find them a year or so later. If you've still got the car and you haven't flipped it like Yanni. Oh, and then you've got these switches here, which I do like, these toggle switches. They're nice. Oh, what have I done? What have I done? I don't know what I've done. Let's move on. While we're on the subject of practicality, let's check out the front boot. on the Huracan Technica. So it's 100 litres. Look, you can tell it is because I don't quite fit in, my hips are too wide. You should fit in the front boot of a Porsche 911 GT3. I would, because that's got a 132 litre front boot. In fact, if you want to see my full in-depth video review of that car, click on the pop-out banner somewhere up there. I'll follow the link in the description below. Oh, look, I told you I'd show you this is a carbon bonnet. Look, clearly is. Anyway, I'm stuck. Yeah, I'm stuck. And that brings me on to 5 annoying things about this car. The quality of the reversing camera is so poor, it looks like they've used the camera unit from some old mobile phone from the mid-noughties. And that's particularly annoying because the redesign of this rear deck means that you have a smaller back window than on the normal Huracan Evo, so it's harder to see out of, and the larger wing also gets in the way a bit too. To alter the volume when you're driving, you can't just use a button on the steering wheel like in most cars. You have to first press this little speaker button here on the infotainment screen, and then you do it through this. It's not ideal. The sun visors are so small they don't really block out any sun. Look. Imagine I'm the sun, you can still see me beaming into your face. You know how pretty much all modern cars now come with smartphone integration as standard. Not this, oh no. If you want Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you have to pay an extra £2,480.
It's not all negative though. Here's 5 good things about this car.
The Technica has an upgraded and louder exhaust than the standard Huracan Evo. Sounds like it's gone, rev it up. Stop it now, that's enough, it's enough. Thanks to a few upgrades such as the carbon fibre bonnet, the Technica is 10 kilograms lighter than the normal Huracan Evo rear-wheel drive. It's a lot, 10 kilos. You know, it all counts, it all matters when you're talking about performance cars. This thing weighs in at 1,379 kilos. Just like with the STO, you can get special cameras which will record your driving when you're on track, and you have telemetry built into the infotainment system. Look, it'll do things like measure you around the track and tell you how good you are. The Technica gets rear-wheel steering, which helps make the car feel more agile when you turn it into a corner. Thanks to its enhanced aerodynamics, the Technica has 20% less drag than the normal Huracan Evo, yet 35% more downforce. It's also got its own unique suspension setup, so it's a bit more hardcore than the standard Huracan Evo, yet not quite as extreme as the bonkers STO. Okay, let's see what the Huracan Technica is like to drive. So, let's go into manual mode for the gearbox. I'm in sports mode, which is the middle setting in terms of throttle response and stiffness of the suspension and the stability control, which is about right for fast road driving. And my God, this thing feels like an animal. So the suspension is reasonably firm even in this mid setting. Oh, but it's okay. Oh, this engine. You do need to rev it to get the most out of it, but you are rewarded when you do. The steering, being just rear-wheel drive, seems purer than in the normal four-wheel drive Huracan. Really is good as a rear-wheel drive car, this. And the traction is actually impressive. It's very darty and likes to rotate, so when you're going through a corner, you can really get it just like turning in really quickly. I think the rear wheel steering helps with that. You have to watch it, you have to keep your wits about you, otherwise you find it coming round on you. Fortunately, the stability control is quite good, so in ESC Sports it'll give you some motion, but it will gather it up, but you still need to apply lock to help yourself get out the problem. One thing I have noticed though is that sometimes when the back end looses, what you want to do is apply throttle to just pick up the traction again, but if you're a bit low down in the rev range, you don't quite get enough throttle response or enough torque to the wheels to really make that happen. And that's the thing about this engine, it really likes to be revved. If you just poodle about like this, look, I'm just going to do it now, so like 4th gear, it's quite smooth and reasonably sedate. It's like there, after 4.5 it starts to really pick up and it really just races all the way to the 8,500 RPM red line. It is fun, it feels like an absolute beast, and the steering is very responsive and it's got a good feel to it as well, the steering. Brakes probably a little bit too sharp to your initial press, so that can make them feel grabby until you get used to them, but they're strong. I just wish that initial bite was a little less severe, because you only tickle them a bit. Look, I'm going to do it now. You tickle them and like, look, I'm just tickling them and I'm absolutely getting smashed against the seatbelt. It's a crazy car. Brilliant. So it's a shame that, you know, this is like the swan song really for Lamborghini and the Huracan. This is it. You know, it's a pure, naturally aspirated supercar, and it feels exactly like you want it to feel. What a riot, and what an engine, and what a noise. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Being rear-wheel drive makes it easier to hoon around than the four-wheel drive version. But, you know, a lot of people who have these are going to be like just driving around London and stuff, showing off that they've got a bright green car. So let's put it into Strada mode, slacken things off, go into automatic mode for the gearbox. There we go. See what it's like. So do you know what? It's perfectly livable, just tootling about like this. Reasonably quiet. I mean, 7th gear. I'm just coasting. What happens if I floor it? Kickdown's pretty good actually, and then it's on it after 5,000 RPM. But when you're just cruising, that engine's really quite subdued. You get a lot of tyre noise, that's for sure. And the suspension still is on the firm side. And the good thing is you can do this actually sod Strada because the exhaust isn't loud enough. But in sport, you can be coasting along and you can basically put it into neutral mode so that you can make revving sounds. It's ideal for if you're in traffic and you can't really rev up your engine properly while accelerating. You can do this, look, into neutral, show off. A bit hard to do when you're trying to steer. I had to do it with my thumbs. It only lets you do it once though by the look of it. There we go. One go at it, let it back off. Sounds good, doesn't it? But let's get back into manual mode. Let's get back to having fun. It feels like a proper hairy-chested supercar, this. Absolute madness. Oh, I love it. I'm gonna do one more run. It's quite funny. This car's, you know, technically better than the Aventador. Part of the reason is the dual clutch gearbox. So quick to respond, both down the box and up it. I have no complaints about it at all. Such a lively bugger, this. Corsa's just madder still. Right, that's almost enough of that, but we're not done yet, because now let's see exactly how quick this thing is when you launch it. Lamborghini says this car should do 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds. What's the reality? I'm going to find out with my specialist timing gear here. 3.29. We're skitting around a bit. What's the quarter mile? 11.03. That's the thing about rear wheel drive. You don't always get the perfect launch. Still felt pretty perfect. Should we try again? 3.24, it's a bit quicker this time. Can we break the 11-second barrier? Yes, that's better. 10.89 for the quarter mile. I'm happier with that. So then, what's my final verdict on the Lamborghini Huracan Tecnica? Should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, do you know what? I think this is the best all-round Huracan. It's the one you should go for. And if you can, get one now, because cars like this, they're dying out. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. Let me know if you agree with my comments and stuff in the comments. Click on those windows there for some more videos, and on that box there to go to CarWow to sell your car the easy way. Just upload some photos, give a brief description, then dealers all across the country will bid on your car. Thanks for watching.